Alrighty, traders, welcome. It is Thursday, February 1st, 2024. Groundhog Day. Didn't we just see the same level yesterday in the markets, I guess? So yeah, despite yesterday's big selling based on the Fed reaction that they may not cut rates anytime soon, and probably not in March, or at least potentially not in March. And everybody thought the world was ending yesterday. People were panicking, and anyone trading out there was watching, thinking that this was the big one, and they're trying to get all their hedges on probably, and freaking out. Meanwhile, we had a great day yesterday. We closed a trade for a winner. Yesterday, our account only dropped like a fraction of a percent. So 0.7%. Market's down at 1.67 or something. We're down 0.7. Right. So it's all good. We love these kind of things. If the market would go down, we make even more money. If the market goes up, we still make money. So it's all good. And let's just jump into where the markets are today, because yesterday apparently never existed, because today we rallied completely past everything from yesterday to finish at a new high for the 2-day session. Not a new all-time high, but let's just jump into where we are. I'll get rid of myself off of this screen so you guys can see what we're looking at here. But SPY, having a pretty solid week. You can see Squeeze just firing on the uptrend, having a pretty good week. We're getting close to that overbought territory. MACD, a little weak in here as it's just moving a little sideways. And then if we jump into the daily charts here, we've had that big pullback yesterday to the PSAR, but we didn't trigger it, and we bounced higher today, back above the 9. All is good. All is right with the world. Now, MACD falling for 3 sessions. Squeeze running a little bit out of momentum yesterday, picking it back up today as RSI ticked back higher. We are still in a bullish mode on the weekly and the daily. There's nothing here that would make me think otherwise. So we just keep going up, and any pullback here, again, I think would be totally welcomed. Now, in the NASDAQ, a little different story. So over on the weekly, still in a nice uptrend. Great pullback to the 50 here. And then not any pullbacks recently. So we do really want to see something pull back, probably close to the 21, maybe even the 50. But we're not getting that right now. Yesterday did pull back on this on the weekly. On the daily over here, we did see a pullback close to the 21 and a bounce higher today. We did trigger a PSAR bearish signal. So Qs are a little bit different. The big tech stocks, however, this could all change tomorrow, because things look like they're going to be heading up tomorrow. And that's going to be based upon some of the earnings that came out after the bell tonight. And we'll talk briefly about those. But Meta is just rocketing, profit tripling on the company. But we'll get to that. I don't want to get into that too bigly right now. But the Qs getting a nice little bounce. We'll see how these fare with Apple shares. IWM on the week, pretty undecided overall. Decent update today on IWM. I still think if tech stocks falter at all, then you're going to see IWM start to pick up. But if tech stocks keep roaring higher, this is just going to struggle for a while. So it did break its little previous downtrend, but overall, this is still in kind of a wedge pattern here. So if we take a look at this thing, you do have, whether we count yesterday or today, if you take a look at this on IWM, we are in a bit of a triangle. So let's move these out, a couple strikes. And this triangle pattern hasn't really broken up or down. We're struggling with this resistance level. We'll see if the markets can get moving above that or not. I think tomorrow, probably looking at some flat days ahead, but we are in a squeeze. And the longer we stay hovering around this 21 and 9 EMAs, the longer we stay in this area, the bigger that squeeze is going to be. So you're in a 3-day squeeze right now. So momentum's getting built up and the spring is coiling. We'll see which way this thing wants to break out as we get going. Number of stocks above their 50-day moving average did rebound a bit today, but it's still heading lower. So we've still just been heading lower, but the markets really have not been selling off. VIX today dropping back to 1388. It's still just a non-factor anywhere. And if we take a look at the Yeah, US dollar here on the weekly, still improving on the MACD, squeeze trying to reverse. RSI was making a run up, peeled off a bit this week, but overall still in a decent bullish trend here. And then this triangle, ascending triangle pattern. Now, today, pretty good down day on the session, up early, trying to pop through this thing. We just keep popping, trying to pop through, and we cannot break this resistance line, pulling back down. MACD has been selling off, RSI falling, squeeze is falling, so the dollar could be heading a bit lower right now. So, looked like we were going to break out to the upside. Okay. And then now it's just sideways with the momentum running out of things. If we break to the downside here, that'll change a little bit of the narrative on some of the FX stocks. All right, let's take a big look. To me, one of the big stories that's out there is bonds. So what did the Fed say they were going to do? They said they're going to continue to monitor things. They doubt that there may be a rate cut as soon as March. And all of that news led the markets led the bond rates to fall. So they're not cutting, but bonds are going to fall anyway, which is kind of an interesting tin. So why is that happening? Potentially, this is happening because the market's factoring in that the Fed could be driving us potentially off a cliff. Maybe it's a little bit of a flight to safety in bonds, which is drawing the yields down a bit. We'll see what happens, but pretty good sell-off week, breaking below this trend line. So this trend line no longer valid. Now we're going to be watching for support here, and we're going to see if this thing can hold. And if we go all the way back to here and we bring this line across, it's not a perfect line. Okay, let's see if we can get this in. It's so touchy. Okay, so we had previous pivot level here that we really bounced, broke, came back down through, bounced, and then finally broke through. Then we came back down, bounced on it higher, and now we came back down and we're tapping it again. If this line doesn't really hold, some more pain for yields and a bigger push for bonds. We'll talk about that. All right, let's talk about our big four as far as the futures that I'm watching. Today we had a decent pullback day in oil. Just watching the charts, all kinds of rumors and this and that. News is noise. Stop watching CNBC. Stop reading Twitter. Okay? I'm begging you, if you want to improve your trading, stay away from the news. Oh, but I got to know what's driving the market. No, you don't. What you need to do is understand what the market is doing, and options pricing and stock pricing are going to tell you everything that you need to know. Stay away from the news and the talking heads of what's going to go up and why things are happening. I'm giving you a lot of that here. You can stay away from me too. Don't use me as a talking head either. Look at what's in front of you. Look at the markets. Okay, what do we got here on oil? We've had a nice weekly move higher recently. This week's been a pretty good down week. Okay? I don't care what that is or why it is. Overall, we've got a bullish trend for the most part on the weekly. Now that can change if we break below and this uptrend line, but right now we're good. Okay, we look at the daily. You got higher highs, higher lows. It's been moving up. It's just a pullback right now. We'll see what happens. You've got RSI weakening, heading lower. You got squeeze rolling over and MACD rolling over. That's all bearish. Okay, so you've got bearish here on the daily, and you've got a bit of bullish movement on the weekly. This is all good. It's just some sideways action until they both align, and once they're going the same direction. Okay, the only way this is going to happen right now is if the daily moves up, then we're going to get a pretty good up move because they'll be in a line. Right now, it's yin and yang, weekly, daily. They're going the opposite directions. And if they're going the opposite direction, that sets up perfectly for strangles, 112s, any of those things. And I will take the long term right now until it changes. So the long-term narrative to me is still stronger, even though you're getting potentially some early signs that, all right, maybe this run is over and maybe we'll resume this downtrend overall. that we've been in, but we're really just sideways, and this could be a double bottom area here as well. So we got to really wait and see. But as this downtrend broke, okay, then we began another series here. This could be a double bottom, move higher. It could break this spot, head lower. We'll see what happens. But overall, I just like the yin and yang of oil, so I think that sets up good for some strangle opportunities. Gold's the other one to take a look at. Gold been on an absolute tear. If we're looking at the weekly, gold's in an overall weekly uptrend. Look at the stacked 50 trading above the 200, 21 above the 50, 9 above the 21. Good bullish trend heading into a resistance level up here that we set back in November. This is all nice, and for the most part, I think it's bullish overall. Now you had some weakening here of the MACD and the squeeze, but the trend has been up, and the moving averages are telling you the trend is up until it's not. And good reversal, MACD running higher this week, squeeze reversing higher, and MACD reversing higher. So still bullish, I think. Here, mixed, neutral to bullish on the weekly. If we look at the daily, what do we got running here on the daily? I'm going to pop out just a second so you can see a little bit further out here. Nothing too far back. Right, you've got a nice resistance level. We're heading on up to that. Big up day today overall on gold. So we're watching what gold's doing in the session, but decent day today on gold as we move higher. 9 above the 21, above the 50, above the 200. So we're stacked. We're bullish on MACD, bullish here on the RSI. We're bullish, and we're in a 5-day squeeze, maybe about to fire. This thing could get even longer here, and we tried to take advantage of that today by starting a covered strangle trade on this. So we're going to do a covered strangle, but the way we open this trade is by selling multiple puts, and that's our typical way is just to get into really that wheel and covered strangle strategy. We want to sell covered puts or sell puts. So as we begin with naked puts, okay, if we get assigned, we'll break into the covered strangle opportunity. Because I feel we're in a bullish mode, I feel pretty good with those naked puts so far. It's only been a couple hours. We'll see. But if this thing gets cranking up here and can break through this resistance, everything looks good for a squeeze to pop to the upside on gold. Maybe a flight to safety if you think the Fed is going to take us lower in the markets because they're not going to cut rates and they're going to try to squeeze everything out of this economy. All right, let's take a quick look at copper. Copper's been moving up. Everything is getting close to being stacked here with the 9 above the 50, which is above the 21. We just need that 21 and the 9 to really get above the 50. And this is a pretty good bullish setup. We've been setting up. We were in a squeeze. We started to fire that squeeze here. But we were selling off on the MACD and the RSI, and now they're both starting to head higher. But we're still in this sideways consolidation with the last couple of weeks being bullish. So really pretty much neutral on HG right now on the weekly. So neutral. But if we look at the daily, okay, this is also pretty neutral for the most part. We've got a nice move up as squeeze was moving higher, RSI was moving higher, MACD was moving higher. Last 2 sessions, we've had some pretty good selling. It's rolling over here. This is great for our 112s. It's great for strangles. Both of these are pretty neutral. So I think that sets up HG for some really nice strangle opportunities. And we'll keep an eye on what that looks like, but I'll probably get another strangle. I've got one working right now. It's only 6 days old. Let the thing sit for a bit and percolate, and then we'll see how to. I'm sorry, on HG here. Okay, we've got a strangle that's only 16 days old, which is up 16%. I think it's time to potentially put another strangle on HG. Very neutral here, and then we've got some PDSs left over from a 112 that are actually doing fairly decent right now, but I think this is a good strangle trade opportunity. We'll see what happens. And then last one here I want to touch on is bonds. So really these are my big 4 futures. This is where I want to be looking. You've had a nice up move on bonds. Then we started tailing off to the 21 and then a bounce. Okay. Okay. This is nice and bullish. Okay. You've got higher high, higher low, and now we'll see if we can get another higher high. You've been in an overall downtrend, but you're breaking through that. So neutral to bullish here, but MACD heading higher as of today. RSI has been heading higher, and squeeze is still firing to the upside. So I'd say neutral to bullish here on bonds. And then if we look at the daily, you've had MACD improving, RSI has been cranking higher, and the squeeze has reversed and lost its downward momentum, starting to move higher. All good indicators, and now you've got your moving averages also heading higher. You've got the 9 above the 21, above the 50. They just all are, well, not all, but they're partially below the 21. We're almost stacked to the upside. Bullish PSR reversal 4 sections ago, breaking out of this triangle pattern that we're in to the upside on bonds. Will that carry and follow through? I don't know. We're not far from the 3 ATR levels, and which are pretty flat at the moment. But if these things start to really turn up, we could see a good momentum rally in bonds. So bonds could be a very bullish move here. I think you're neutral for the most part on the weekly, even though it's kind of bullish here, but neutral to bullish here, and then a decent downtrend that you're breaking, starting to look bullish here on the daily. Together, I think this bodes well for bonds moving higher. I don't know if they'll power higher to a ridiculous level, but I think you can get a nice little pop in bonds here. But I think things are going to calm down from the Fed. Key sectors today, okay, the usual suspects, to the upside here. We got retail, we got consumer discretionary, we got some utilities, we got pharma, we've got biotech, all moving higher, real estate moving higher, industrials moving higher, all of them up well over 1%. Everything that was moving higher, with the exception of financials, moving strongly. Financials was negative much of the day and then managed to pop its way higher. Financials looks weak here, despite this run. We're overextended, overbought on financials. So I think financials overbought here on the daily. All right, and moving lower, but now we're overbought on the weekly, and that's where we're focusing right now. So let's take a quick look at this weekly, and I want to update the 50 level here so that we can see it a little more clearly. But overbought and tipping over MACD. This may have had its run. We'll see with yields and so forth, and banks getting whacked a bit, and regionals really getting smacked a bit today, down 3.5% on regionals. Then if we look at the daily, this thing is just tipping over after a nice squeeze run here to the upside, hitting the 3 ATR, tipping over, but hung in there today. We'll see what happens. Energy and oil having down days today, and then the big one was regional banks. This thing just getting crushed the last 2 sessions after the Fed news, and you're seeing regionals get hammered. They're looking pretty ugly here on the weekly. They're looking uglier on the daily right now as we head lower. All right, so there's the keys. And then if we look at just a couple of the stocks, let's touch base on what's happened in the market. Apple having a pretty good run-up day during the session today, and then just coming out after suggesting it's going to have weak iPhone sales. All you have to do is really watch the price action. You don't have to read the headlines. You shouldn't really be, playing it this way unless you're going to be day trading it, and that's fine. You're heading into earnings. But tomorrow, we're going to see this thing drop. At least right now, we're looking to drop down to this trend line. So I'm going to extend this trend line out a bit. That's where we're looking to come down to, is this trend line. This thing's looking pretty bearish overall right now. MACD heading lower, RSI heading lower, squeeze is tipping over. Also on the weekly, this thing's tipping over. So this does not look good. It didn't look good, and they didn't disappoint with poor outlooks for their iPhone sales. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. However, take a quick look at Microsoft. Had a decent rebound day today, but still doesn't look super. Amazon had a really good rebound day today. And when we take a look at Amazon news, let's see if we can pop into here. Earnings on Amazon were ahead of estimates. This thing ran up into the day. Now, in the after hours, this thing is about to rocket to 170 or so. So Amazon going to absolutely skyrocket tomorrow. And we talked about this ascending triangle that we broke, came back, tapped, so bullish breakout move, everything heading higher. One day down to 21, up today. Great signal today heading into earnings. This thing looks like it could really be ready to rock and roll, and it looks like big day tomorrow. Meta, same thing. This thing's going to 450 tomorrow. So we ended the day at 394, and right now in the after hours trading, it's at 450. Okay, it's a massive move, a 55-point move in the after hours today. 55 points to the upside. Meta's just been on a tear. Profit tripled. It's now announcing that they're going to start paying a dividend. People are loving this thing. It is overbought. Okay, it's going to be way the heck overbought tomorrow. I think we could potentially give this thing a couple of days and see if there's a reversal opportunity if the market sells off. Anyway, there's where we are on those. But just so you know a little bit about what's happening in the after hours trading. And then let's just take a quick look at our accounts. Again, we finished up the month of January up 21,908, up 5.54%, doubling the S&P's return, or more than doubling that with our realized gains. And then today we're off and running with another $650 winner in realized gains. Our delta's dropped a bit, so still staying at 0.11. Theta's up 1297, looking pretty good. Love our theta here. We pulled off today a little bit, mostly due to oil trading, and we could see that snap back. BP usage did rocket up a bit today. We did put some trades on, so I did put 2 trades on. That pushed us a bit higher, so we're at 57%, so we're a little high on Bill. We'll be taking some things off. We've got a oil trade that's going to come off. That should get at 50% winner. I just somehow my good to cancel order didn't get got taken out somehow, and I had to put it back on today. We're at 50% on an oil position. So that oil strangle, something we're taking a look at here. I'm hoping to close this thing out in the after hours tonight. So we'll see if we can do that. I'm watching it right now. So as the markets open up tonight, we'll see if that oil on this little bounce that oil is getting in the after hours, I think we can trigger that. So that'll be a gain for tomorrow. And I think that'll also reduce our buying power back to where we should be. Overall, we're off and running $650. What was that today that accounted for that? All right, here's the 2 trades from today. So the first trade that you see here was a 0 DTE put spread. We put this thing on for 45 cents, took it off for 20 cents, took 30 minutes on this particular trade. We took in $250 in 30 minutes today, 0.8% return on margin and a 56 return. We continue to really have a really great 0 DTE strategy that's rocking and rolling, only 1 loss this year so far. The next thing we'd closed was a gold put spread trade that we had on. So we put this put spread trade on back on the 29th. Okay. Yes, that's only 3 days from now. So the 29th, the 30th, and now and the 31st, and then we closed this thing out. So only 3 days in this trade, $400 to the good on this particular trade. I took it off early. I mean, when you get a 40% winner in 3 days on a trade that you were waiting for 50% and maybe 30, okay, why would I wait? So I took it off early at 40% winner, 4.7% return on margin in 3 days. So fantastic trade for us. We put this thing on exactly the right time. So that's a really good positive trade. If we take a look at what we added today as well. So we got these 2 winners. That's giving us a pretty good opportunity here. And then during the session today, I added a strangle on bonds, and we went a little lower delta than normal on the puts. and we stuck pretty much to our guns on the call. So it's pretty much an equal strangle on there. And that we've got a good fill on that. On bonds, the other thing we put on was, again, some naked puts in gold to start the covered strangle wheeling strategy. I'm not a fan of the wheel. We will do some covered strangles here. It's a completely different type of setup that we do, but we will do a covered strangle instead of covered calls for the most part. And we're going to play the fact that gold is on the move here. So we'll keep an eye on this. We'll keep you guys updated. If you like this video, okay, go ahead and let me know by clicking on the likes here. If we're helping you out and you're learning something from it, help me out by clicking some likes. That'll get us out there a little bit more. We can help more people. If you are not a subscriber to the YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Come on, subscribe. We're giving you a lot of great strategies. We're giving you insights as to what we're doing. I'm giving you my daily trade. I'm giving you everything that I'm doing every single day. I'm sharing my trades with you. I'm sharing my portfolio with you. The other day, we went through the entire portfolio live, so you can see exactly what we're trading. So I'm opening it all up to you guys, so you can see here. But if you want the nitty gritty and you want to know how we get into trades, the whys and the exact strategies, and the unique twists that we may put on some of the trades, join us in the Discord. And if you want to get into that, go down below into the description there. You can use KING, so you can use King as a promo code. So KING will get you $50 off the first month. Okay. Come on into the Discord. Let us help you out. You're going to get more than your money's worth in the first couple days, if not the first couple of weeks. It will be drinking like drinking from a fire hose. We're doing a ton of stuff. There's a ton of members sharing. We're giving a lot of members their own platforms as well to show their strategies, their trades, their trade plans. So you've got lots of people to work from. It's not just me. It's not just Igor as the owners of the service. You've got Candy Recker in there. She's sharing her strategies, her profiles, her trading. You've got Eddie. You've got Stacy. You got Joseph Puckett. If you haven't seen his YouTube videos, go ahead and check out Joseph Puckett here on YouTube. He's doing some great stuff. I'm going to join him a little bit with my own twist on covered strangles and wheeling a bit. So we're going to do that for a little bit here, have some fun with it. Okay. A lot of other members, Andy and Rob, and I can't name everybody that's doing it. Our own members stepping up to the plate, really sharing some great strategies. We did a really great video yesterday with Timur out of Spain, one of our members, showing you how he trades off of IBKR, what his strategies are, how he layers in his T-bills, how he layers on his trades. Really cool stuff. So you're not just getting alerts or something from just one or two people. You are getting input from hundreds of people in this Discord. Pick and choose what strategies work for you, okay? And join us. Have some fun. Get into a community of people that can really help improve your trades. All right, you guys have a great rest of your evening. Stay safe out there, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.